Tom Wollner is our deputy who's usually with us, but if you noticed, he was here for a couple minutes, but he was on call, so he's out of here. So, Tom said, and this is what he'd written when we first were going to have you, which,
When he skipped out of the class, yeah.
when you got T-boned, I understand, on the way here.
Yeah.
Tom, I wanted to be here to introduce Lee and tell you what my experience has been with him. Here's how I met Lee when I started back with Goodhue County. I was at law enforcement with my background investigator and received a nickel tour of the building. Lee was in his office in Red Wing. Lee was a school resource officer in Pine Island. When we were introduced, Lee took a minute or two from what he was doing and introduced himself. Lee told me I could call him anytime if I had questions and said, feel free to swing by school anytime, take a tour, or talk, or whatever cops do. After spending a few hours with my backgrounder, it was time to head to work 2 hours west of Red Wing. My plan was to grab a burger from Hardee's in Red Wing and risk dripping on my clothes while I drove. As I ordered, I heard Lee call my name. I am bad at names and had no clue what his name was at that moment. He started by reminding me of his name, probably because he saw the fog of forgetfulness in my eyes. Then he introduced me to his wife and daughter and invited me to join them for lunch. What a great welcome to a new agency. When Lee became an investigator for the county, it was fun working with him, learning from him, joking around when we could. Lee always made me feel like an old friend and not the new guy. Lee and I would also share the desire to have fun with the community while being cops and doing cool stuff cops do. It was unfortunate when Lee abandoned me, ha ha ha, and went to the Kenyon Police Department to be their chief. But I assure you the city of Kenyon is the winner there. Unfortunately, I don't get to see Lee all the time, but when I do, the old friend is still there. Lee is a great mentor to cops and is a great person to work with. Have a great day, everyone. That's from Tom Wollner.
Okay, so you had a little bit of my background. My name is Lee. I'm not Chief Sjolander or whatever. A lot of people think my last name is Lee because everyone just calls me Officer Lee. So I'm not your typical police chief maybe, where a lot of them wear white shirts and stars and all this crap. I don't do any of that. I am no different than anybody else. So this is what I wear to work every day, and I love what I do. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to ask. We're going to go till around 4 o'clock this afternoon, I think. I'm kidding. I really have to go to the can before then, so we're going to talk like 45 minutes or so. Okay. Anyone have any questions before I start? Am I talking loud enough so everyone can hear? I didn't know if this... Okay. I see some familiar Kenyonites in the back and some former Kenyonites. Can't believe these people know me and actually came to hear me talk. So Bob used to drive my son Bryant around on the bus for years, so I've known Bob forever. Okay, let's talk about us and judging and everything else. How many of you have Facebook? Yeah. How many of you follow the Kenyon Police Department on Facebook or have heard that we even have a Facebook page? Okay. The Facebook thing kind of happened by accident, and sometimes good things happen by accident, sometimes bad things happen by accident. So here's how the Facebook program started. Departments here and there have had them, and I thought, well, we should do a Facebook page too, just to kind of tell people about us. And this job can be really serious and really heart-wrenching, and I always like to make things a little bit of fun. So we started a Facebook page, and initially I did little tidbits on crime tips or look out for this or that. Well, then I started to do trivia, and I've been there since 2007, and we've had a lot of staff members because we're a small town. A lot of officers will start there and then they want to move on to something bigger. So that's fine. So I'll have an officer maybe a year or two and then they'll move on to a larger agency. So in this time period, we've had a lot of different staff members, so I started to do trivia. Like some of the ones we did were, how many squad cars do we have? We had 3, we're down to 2, and we're gonna have 2 after the one that I got hit coming to TRIAD was totaled. We're getting a new car with our insurance money and so forth. So we'll have 2 cars again. Okay, so we did things like, how tall is our tallest officer? Who wants to guess? 6 foot? 6'7" was our tallest. He was a big boy. He was an ex-Army Ranger. His name was Josh. Great kid. Okay, what do you think our shortest officer? How tall? 5'2". 5'2", you're right, 5'2". So that's Shannon Clemenson is our shortest officer. So when Shannon started, she came in and her first cop job, all nervous, and she was our first female hire that we've had in Kenyon. So she was referred to as the girl for like the first 2 years. Which officer did you? I don't know, the girl. Oh, well, that's probably Shannon. So when Shannon came in and she's all nervous, I said, well, let's go through the clothing that we have here and we'll see what we can make work, because we reuse our gun belts and things like that. So I gave her Josh's pants because Josh had left and his pants went up to her neck. I said, you have to make those work. I don't know what else to tell you. And I said, he's got a size 15 boot too, so I don't know, you have to put some socks in there. And she gave me this look of panic. I said, I'm just kidding. You don't have to use that stuff. So, but we do reuse the stuff that we can. So we have a lot of part-time officers. Like, how many of you know that Nick that was here earlier? Okay, Nick works full-time here. What if he said, hey, I want to work part-time in Kenyon? If his boss is okay with it and we're okay with it, he could work part-time. A big thing that we try to do is monitor our budget, okay? We don't have a huge budget. It's good, and I never complain about it, but it's not millions and millions of dollars. So someone like Nick could work in Kenyon part-time, and it works out really well because the city of Cannon Falls pays for all of his training and all of that stuff, and we just have to give him a uniform. So a lot of my part-timers work full-time for larger agencies, but they like working in Kenyon because I'm amazing. I'm kidding. They like working in Kenyon. They like working in Kenyon because it's fun. And I said, you're not going to get rich here, but you're going to have a good time. So we do things a lot differently, I think, than larger agencies. I say this to all my staff. You're big boys and girls, figure it out. I want you to do the most good. And that's what whenever I teach classes, I always talk about that. And I want all of you to do the most good. If you can, through your day, at the end of the day, when you're all done, look back and say, I made a positive difference on someone's life, that's all you can ask for. Don't judge a book by its cover. You saw the lovely pictures of me when I was a kid. I wasn't always this hot looking, trust me. I had my awkward stage. If you ask my wife, she says I'm still in it. So I'll be 47 this month, and she's hoping I finally grow out of this, but I don't know what to tell you. So, you saw my background. I grew up in a foster home. My mom did drugs. I don't know my dad. My mom's been to prison for drug dealing and using and so forth. And at the age of 13, I ran away from home. So I was abandoned in Amboy, Minnesota. Have you ever heard of Amboy? It's a town about this big. So here's the story. My mom was a member of the Boyfriend of the Month Club. She always dated hooligans. Always, always, always. Made really bad choices when it came to relationships. So she was dating this guy, and he would come home drunk and thump on her. So I would run away or go get help and things like this. So this one time she comes in drunk, 4 o'clock in the morning, get up, we have to leave. Okay, so my mom was born in England, as was I, and she never drove in the United States. So she never had a car. When I was a kid, I never had a car. We had a little red wagon and my bicycle. Unless she dated somebody with a car or we knew somebody that would give us a ride, we never had a car. So we get up, we all get loaded, we go to this house in Amboy. Now this is way before cell phones and internet and remote controlled TVs. This is the Stone Age. Dinosaurs roamed the earth, according to my kids, back when I was young. So I'm sleeping in this camper outside with a friend of mine, and I hear the fighting, and I get up and I look, and Bob's car is there, because, she had to call him or something, or he called her or whatever, and she wasn't strong enough to not answer the call or not talk to him. So Bob shows up, beats her up. I can't handle this anymore, so I leave. I walk around town, come back, and they're all gone. So now here I am, 13 in Amboy. I know this one family, and they don't want anything to do with us now because it's like an episode of Cops at their house, crazy behavior. And then I leave. So I'm walking around town, and I go to the local police department in Amboy and walk in, and this nice officer said, sit down. So I told him what's going on, and he made some phone calls, and the rest is, as I say, history. So I went to a foster home in Fairmont. My brother and sister went to different foster homes, and they separated us because I was always the parent. In my house, I was cooking and cleaning and repairing phones that were broke off walls and things like this because that's what I did. So I decided, we should try to do some good with this story and this background. And I always wanted to be a cop. From when I was a little kid, I would sit there at home when the cops would bust in and do search warrants. Towards the end of my time with my mom, things were really crazy. And so the cops would come, kick in the door, she'd be yelling and screaming, and this was back in the days when they would toss your house. I mean, they were tipping couches over and doing all this stuff. And I was sitting there going, that's kind of cool. I think I want to do that when I grow up. But we don't toss houses. We don't do that. We're very, very nice. So basically, I haven't talked to my mom in 25 years. My oldest kid will be 25 in February, and he's never met my wife. He's never met my kids, or she's never met my wife and kids. And I'm okay with that, because sometimes you have to take those toxic people in your life, and you can tell them, I love you, just I need to love you from over here, because I can't love you from here, because you're sucking the life out of me, and you bring drama. And I don't need drama. I need my own little square, boring self that I do, and that's it. So that's the story on that. But what I see here, especially in the front row, I'm going to pick on you because I'm young, or because you're young, is I see my future right here, okay? But I've worked with kids for years and years and years, and I was a school cop, and that was the funnest job I had, except for being police chief. School cop was great, because what a lot of people see, and maybe you know this, is they don't see the potential, do they? They look at you and they go, snot-nosed kid, probably steals stuff, probably doesn't get good grades, probably doesn't have a job, probably plays video games all day or skateboards or whatever people think. And it's not really fair, is it? It's like they look at me and they think, what? Loves coffee, loves donuts. I do, though, by the way. Oh my gosh, donuts are amazing. But they judge a book by its cover, right? They look at me and they think, probably jerk, thumps on people, doesn't listen to people, screams at people, right? Because that's what a lot of people think of cops. And I'm the weird one. I'm the one that's always like the huggy, helping you out, here's $5 guy. And I've always been that way. And it's catching on, which I like, because doing this now and being the boss as I am, I have a good impact on the other officers that are following me. And the Facebook thing is great for that. So don't judge a book by its cover, right? So when you see me and I see you, what's your name? Matthew. I see Matthew, Matthew sees me, and Matthew might think, oh great, here comes a cop walking up. He's going to come and bust my balls because I'm skateboarding or I'm hanging out here. He's going to accuse me of smoking or whatever he does. I'll go, hey Matthew, how's it going today? I'm like, good. Hey, did you catch the game last night? No. What really freaks kids out is I know a lot of weird kid stuff. Like I know about Element skateboards and girl skateboards and who Lincoln Park is. I know a lot of weird stuff like that. I know. You wouldn't think I'm this cool, but I love Lincoln Park too. So I come up and I just BS with people, and they're like, holy cow, he's actually not a big jerk. And I'm like, he's not a big jerk. Because I don't know anything about Matthew, and I've never met him, but I'm going to pick on him because he's sitting in the front row. But maybe I know a little bit about Matthew. Maybe I know that his home life isn't good. Maybe he's got troubles at home. Maybe he's working 3 jobs, odds and end things, shoveling snow, cutting grass, helping out at a restaurant because he needs to help pay the bills at home. Now, I might know this because unlike some police officers, I get my big fat hiney out of my cop car and I walk around and I visit with people and I ask them questions and they can ask me questions. I'm an open book. If you want to know something about me, ask me. I'll never forget this. Way back in the day, I was teaching a class to a bunch of 6th graders, and I apparently wasn't cool enough, so they wanted cooler cops than me. So it took me a while, but I did find some. No, I'm kidding. So one of my friends was an undercover cop, and I brought him in, and I said, hey, I want you to talk to these 6th graders about what you do and how you do it. Okay, no problem. So he comes in like this. He's tough. No one's gonna crack him. And it's like, have you ever shot anyone? Have you ever driven fast? What kind of gun do you have? Blah, blah, blah. And then one kid in the back says, are you married? And he goes, I'm not going to answer any personal questions about myself. And I'm like, are you kidding me? What's he going to do? He's a 6th grader. And after that, I thought, you know, that needs to change. So I'm married. My wife's name is Rebecca. She's a school teacher. My oldest son, Corey, is actually stationed in Turkey, and he's surprising my wife. He's flying home this week to be with us over the holidays. I have a son named Bryant who's 22. He lives and works in Olivia. He has cerebral palsy and he's in a wheelchair. My daughter Layla's 13, going on about 30. Thank God she's just like my wife. She's very pretty and very smart. I don't know what she got from me, maybe the big nose, that's about it. But I'm an open book, and here's why. I'm a public servant, and I put a big, big emphasis on serving, all right? I think there's a time to be law enforcement, and there's a time to be a public servant. And in a small town, we can do a ton more public servicing than we can do law enforcement. What's your name? Cole. Cole, I'm going to pick on you because you wear glasses. Only cool kids wear glasses, don't they, Cole? Absolutely. So Cole comes in, and maybe somebody stole his bicycle or his skateboard, or he has some sort of an issue or a need, okay? If I can help fill that need, I'll do that because that's part of our servicing in a small town. I get donations all the time. If any of you are bored, by the way, this Saturday, come to the big city of Kenyon. We're having a free garage sale. It's called Garage of Goodness. I've never done this before, and I'm crazy for doing it, I think, because we have this huge double bay garage that's filled with stuff. So this garage has TVs, chairs, couches, knickknacks, clothes, all kinds of stuff, and we're calling it Garage of Goodness. And what we're doing is Saturday morning, I'm getting up before I watch cartoons. I'm going to get up, do they even have cartoons anymore in the mornings on Saturdays? Is it like Bugs Bunny yet, or is he old gone?
Fairly Odd Parents.
Oh, I haven't heard that one. No Roadrunner?
They still have old
Only on
Looney Tunes.
Blu-ray.
They still have old Looney Tunes. Listen to this kid, old Looney Tunes. That was my era. Looney Tunes are the best. Okay, so I've got some people coming to help me, and we're going to set all the stuff up, and it's free. All I ask is if you get something, you use it or give it to somebody who can. So hopefully, at the end of the day, I won't have anything left. So if you need anyone with furniture needs or clothing or board games or anything, come to Kenyon with something to haul the stuff in and take it home. Pretty cool thing, right? Why am I doing this? Because I get paid a lot of money? Because I'm helpful and I have nothing else to do on a Saturday morning. No, I love doing this because I'm a big proponent of paying it forward, okay? People helped me out when I was a kid. People didn't judge me. Well, I think some did, of course, but the ones that mattered didn't judge me because of my background or my stupid home haircuts or my crappy clothes that were hand-me-downs of hand-me-downs of hand-me-downs. They looked at me as a person, and that helped a lot. So now that I'm a big fancy police chief in a big town, I do the same thing because it's important. But the biggest reason I do this is because maybe for some of you, I might be the first, adult that talks to you like you're a person. And maybe you'll look at me later on and you might come to me when you really have a genuine need for something. And that's what this is about. It's not me versus you. What's your name, hon? Maddie. It's not me versus Maddie. It's Maddie and I together. If Maddie needs something from me, I need something from her. We can visit, we can talk, we can wave, and that's it. Because a big thing in my line of work is a lot of people only talk to me when they need something. I have friends that talk to me once a year. The phone, hey, how are you? Oh, good, how are you? Good, what's up? Hey, I need a favor. Well, of course you do, what's that? Well, my kid did this, and this. So it happens. But I genuinely like people. Now, you're only on this earth for a short period of time, and the important thing for me is leaving a good impression and leaving your mark in a positive way, right? To go and get in trouble is very, very easy. It is, right? Break a window, steal something, it's easy. Doing the right thing takes character, and after you start doing it, it becomes easier. I don't care if you're 10 years old or 80. We're all capable of doing a better job and doing good things, okay? Now, what I hope, and I don't know if this is my first TRIAD meeting, I hope that some of you in the front look at the people in the back and you visit with them. You are looking at a wealth of knowledge back here. This is more college experience than you'll ever get at any college. You want to talk about people that have really done it right and have made it through? Look behind you. You think you've got it tough or you think you've got a bad day, turn around and go, hey, I'm having trouble with my car. Lots of stories here about, well, I didn't even have a car. This is what I did to fix my car. Making ends meet. We didn't have a lot of money growing up. Well, they didn't either, I'm assuming, and you work your way through it. But don't forget to talk to the elders in your community. There is so much knowledge there. I look at our elders all the time. We had a gentleman that just passed away a little bit ago, and he was, oh my gosh, he was maybe mid-90s, I think. And when we first started our police department in 2007, let me back up a second. The city of Kenyon, excuse me, got rid of their police department in 1998, and they brought it back in 2007. And this gentleman, I would consider one of our town elders, in a sense, wasn't really a big fan of us having a police department. He said at a meeting, I don't want this to be the political football that it was back in the day when I was first here. Not a bad comment, a very good comment. So he talked about his concerns. The council assured him that everything would be fine, and we started a police department. Now, when you look at somebody your guys' age, because I have shoes older than all of you probably, and I look at this guy in his 90s, and you start to think, well, what can that old guy tell me? You know, he's old. He probably doesn't remember stuff or whatever. So I walk into the restaurant one day, and he goes, hey, come over here, sit down. All right. So I sit down, order lunch, and we're visiting. And he says, how big is your budget? And I forget what it was, 260,000 or something, whatever. Okay. And he's doing math in his head. He's eating, doing math. He goes, well, okay, there's X amount of houses in town, and property taxes are this, blah, blah, blah. He figured out, and I'm probably wrong on this figure, so don't quote me, but he said, okay, so it costs the average Kenyon citizen $4 a month to have you here as the police chief. He just pulled this number out of the air. I would have to sit there for an hour with my fingers and toes and a calculator and notepads to figure this out, and he did it just like that. He goes, pretty good deal, I think. And that was a huge compliment coming from this person who initially really wasn't a fan of us. So you can learn a lot from your elders. Don't judge them, they won't judge you, and it all is going to work out really, really well. Sorry, I'm a popular guy. My phones go off all the time. So, any questions so far? Am I going too fast? Anything? I'm not spitting on you in the front row, am I? You sure? You tell me if I was, right, man? He's like, hey, back up a little bit or go over here. You're kind of spraying. She smiles. I like that. I like a smile. You shouldn't have sat in front, should you? I kind of pick on people in the front. I pick on people in the back, though, too. I'm equal opportunity. All right? Okay. So what I really want you guys to do in this is, oh, crap, the Chief's here. Oh, boy. How many of you know Jeff?
I was just actually making sure you made it here this time.
I left at 4 o'clock this morning, and I drove 10 miles an hour with the hazards and the lights going, and I took every corner super slow, and nobody ran into me. So it worked out great today.
To drive carefully.
I did. I drove
Well, you did. I suppose I could say that.
But Lee, I had a question for you. In your blog, which is so super good, and if you guys get a chance to read it, it really encourages you, or brings you to tears. But every once in a while, someone will just give you $20 or something for you. Now, I'm from the cities. I don't think it would be approved for the citizen to give a cop $20 or 50 or 100 up there. How do you get by with that?
I put it right in my pocket. No, I love, and I get a kick out of this. I'm weird. I don't know. Maybe I ate too many Fruit Loops as a kid. I don't know. I love to take this little bit of money. It's like taking it home to my parents because I mowed someone's lawn well. So what I do is I'll get this money and I'll walk over to City Hall and I give it to Sue or Pam or someone, and I'm really proud of that. And I'm a big supporter of doing the right thing. And the right thing's not always easy, and the easy thing's not always right? But you got to do the right thing. So I've gotten donations this year that are amazing, and it's basically because of our social media. So what I do now, like on Facebook, is I do a Thoughts from Chief Sjolander, and I sit there in the morning in my penguin pajamas with my coffee, and I sit at the kitchen table and I type. And I kind of type whatever comes to my head. I've got ADHD real bad, and shiny things get my attention, and so, but I wake up in the morning with a song in my head or a thought or something will happen at work, and I want to share it because we have great people doing great things. Now, how many of you look at the news and you get kind of angry or sad because everything is doom and gloom and someone's taking advantage of somebody and somebody does something bad? So I try to do the opposite of that. And sometimes I've gotten a little feisty on Facebook, and I'll post something a little edgy. And people have called me out on it, and I'm good with that because I'm all about the open lines of communication. So I'm okay with some of that, but I try to be positive about it. So as far as the donations that come, like I tell people, we unlock car doors in town. A lot of agencies don't do that anymore, and we do. And now that it's like 38 below with wind chill, we've had 3 of them this last week. Like, people can't do this in the summer when it's 90. You gotta wait till it's 30 below. But we unlock car doors, and some people are like, oh, how much is that? I go, we do it for free. It's a free service, right? I'm about serving our public. I don't mind doing it. It takes a couple minutes out of my day, and Kenyon doesn't have a locksmith. The closest one would be Faribault, And not that they don't do a nice job, they do. And if we had a locksmith in town, I wouldn't do this. I don't want to take business away from somebody else, unless it would be like some huge emergency. But we do it for free. Oh, no, I got to pay you something. No. Oh, geez, where I live, last time I did this, the guy said it cost me 80 bucks. Well, we do it for free. Well, have you got like a donation or something? I said, well, any money I get goes to my Shops with Cops program, and that's where I stick the money I get all the time. So I get the money, take it to City Hall. I get checks in the mail from people. I got checks from Canada. I've gotten checks from Ohio, Florida. I get nice letters. And that means more to me than anything. You know, people ask me, hey, would you consider leaving to be chief somewhere else? I'm like, no. Well, my gosh, you could pay a lot more money. It's not about money for me. If I wanted money, I'd work at some other place, because you don't get rich being a cop. At least doing it where we do it, you don't. So I have no intention on leaving Kenyon to go somewhere else, because I'm not going to get these boxes of good news that I get a lot in the mail. People come in and they just want to visit, they want to shake our hand, they want to hug us and just say thank you. You can't put a price on that. And young kids, let me tell you this. If you can go to work every day and enjoy what you do, that's a win. I don't care what you do, as long as you don't take advantage of others and you're productive. If you enjoy going there every day, that's the secret. I've been doing this now for 20 years and I love it. I'd quit to be a rock star or an astronaut. Those would be the only two things I would quit to do. And I don't see that happening anytime soon. So the secret is enjoying what you do. And you're going to have to do it for a long time. I mean, I've been copping now for 20 years, and for you it seems like forever, but you talk to some of the people in the back, 20 years is like a day. It flies by. Jeff, how long have you been copping?
25.
And it flies by, doesn't it? Most days. Yeah, some days it's painfully slow, but most days it goes by quick.
And I still wouldn't, much likely, I wouldn't be doing it if I still didn't love it.
Yeah. I could go do a lot of other things and make a lot more money. I could model with a face like this. I could be a hand model maybe. And I actually couldn't do that anymore, because I'll back up for a second. On my way here, when that gal T-boned me, my finger ended up having a huge cyst. I had to cut it out. So my hand modeling days are over, because I had to go in and cut a cyst out a couple weeks ago. So my hand modeling, I could maybe hand model with this. No, I'm not going to model. I guess I'll stay here and be a police chief, right? But the secret is liking the people you're with and liking what you do. If you can do that, that's the key. And it's not about the money. And I've heard this a million times. When you're doing what you're supposed to do, the money will come. And it's true. If you can get into something that you really, truly love doing, the money will work itself out. It will. It's not about the money. It's not about the fame and fortune. It's about you enjoying yourself, because when you're pleasant to your family, right? You're pleasant to your friends. You're pleasant to your coworkers. You're a nice person to be around. Nobody wants to be around a hooligan, right? They want to be around nice people. So focus on that. Be an individual, but focus on being the best person you can be. I love it. I'm going to pick on you a little bit, okay? I love it when I see people that have a different kind of haircut, piercing. I have a ton of tattoos. You wouldn't think that about me, would you? If you saw me with my shirt off, you'd be like, oh my gosh, he looks like a biker. I love tattoos. I have a lot of them. That's okay. It's what's on the inside that matters, okay? I have a lot of friends that look like really, really scary people, and they're wonderful individuals. I've got friends with tattoos on the back of their head. Scary, scary folk, but they're great. So don't judge a book by its cover, okay? I don't care what kind of car you drive, what kind of house you live in, what kind of shoes you wear. What I care about is you on the inside. I don't care about physical appearance. Some of us are thin, some of us are fat, some of us have long hair, short hair. I don't care. Straight teeth, crooked teeth. It's you as a person. So be the best person you can be, right? No one sleeping yet? Look at that, a single person sleeping. So any questions so far? Anything? Yes?
When are you going to put a picture of the penguin pajamas on your wall?
I put one, I had them laying on the floor, and some lady said you should model them. I'm like, nobody wants to see this wearing penguin pajamas. Ugh. Yeah, I think what makes our page as successful as it is I'm an open book. Somebody had a question? Yeah. Yes, sir.
Well, it's not really a question, but, well, it's like, well, once I was working for my dad, handing out flyers, and I get 50 cents per flyer I hand out, and then there was like and I put them in like the mailboxes.
Good.
And then there was this mailman who came up to me and he was like, "You have to stop putting them in the mailboxes." And I was like, "Oh crap!" Like, and then after I got the money, I saw this guy stand on the side of the road who looked like he needed money. I was gonna give some to him, but it was like too late. The light turned green.
Sure.
And yeah, like I saw him like looking at me, like
Did you smile at him?
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the nicest things that happened to that person all day. That's a really good thing that you tried to do. I'm very proud of you for that. Helping out when you can is a good thing. Smile and wave to people. Be nice to people. What's your name, dear? Serena. Serena's been smiling almost the whole time, probably because she's like, "Don't come over here." But she's pleasant. I like that. I like smiles. You know, being nice to someone is free, and I tell my staff that. You know, now that I became the big highfalutin chief, it's about money and budgets and getting the best bang for your buck and things like this, right? Being nice to people doesn't cost you a dime, and the rewards are tenfold, okay? Now, how many of you know people with a bad reputation, right? Everybody can think of somebody in their life that has a bad rep, okay? Now, maybe some of you have heard this about police officers. Some of them are not so nice. Some of them are not so warm and fuzzy. To be completely frank, some cops are jerks, right? They're mean. They're going to show you, "I'm the man around here, boy. You're going to listen to me because I'm the man." Officers like that, and it could be in any profession, I don't care. But because I'm a cop, we'll talk about cops. Officers like that generate complaints. Complaints are a pain in the rear. Now, people are going to complain about you because we're in the business of telling people no. People don't want to hear no. Oh my gosh, I've been called every sort of name. People have threatened to sue me and my family and everything else because I've had to tell them no. No, you can't keep breaking the law. Well, it's my, no, it's not your right. Stop it. All right, and I'm okay with that, that's fine. But good, positive officers, now we have a job to do, right? I could buy you coffee today and tomorrow I might have to arrest you. It's the job I do. Same thing, I could arrest you today and have coffee with you tomorrow. That's the way I am. I don't judge. I don't hold grudges. You know, and I tell my staff that. We see a lot of people at the worst time of their life. You got to remember that. I've never met hardly any of you before. What's your name? I'll pick on you. Tyler? Have I ever met you, Tyler? Okay, Tyler's in Kenyon. He's having a bad day, so he's having a temper tantrum, whatever Tyler does, to get the cops' attention. I show up, and what do I see? I see a kid with a camouflage shirt on who's braver than me because he's wearing shorts, and he's having a bad day, so we have to deal with him. Now, there's a couple ways we can do this. I can come over and be all puffy-chested and tell him that I'm the man, or I go, "Tyler, come over here, buddy. What's going on today?" "I'm having a bad day." "Okay, why?" And we visit about it, right? Again, what's my big thing? Do the most good. Now, I could just come up and face plant him and put my knee in his back and bring out my pink handcuffs and throw them on him. I have pink handcuffs. How cool is that? I'm known for having pink handcuffs, by the way. People actually say I want the pink ones. I'm like, that's cool.
Let me guess, your favorite color is pink.
I love pink. My daughter kind of got me on the pink thing. I have pink high tops too. What do you do?
Do you like the song Pink?
I like the artist Pink. I like her. She's cute. I should write her. I bet she'd be my friend on Facebook. What do you think?
Probably.
My wife probably wouldn't like that so much. That's a bad plan. I won't do that. Okay. But okay, so I deal with him and I talk to him like he's a person, right? And we figure it out. Now maybe he's still going to have to go to jail, or maybe he's going to get a ticket or whatever, okay? But I'm treating him like a human being because, and especially in small towns, the person that you deal with on a Wednesday or Thursday, you could be dealing with them in a positive way on Friday or Saturday. Maybe he works at a local restaurant or at the auto parts store. Now, if I treat him poorly and I walk in and go, "Hey, can I get a," he's like, "Oh yeah, Mr. Crappy Cop, sure." But if you treat him right, it doesn't cost anything. I don't get hurt, he doesn't get hurt, we visit about what's going on, and I've left with maybe a new friend. Because someday I might need something from him, right? He might come to me and say, "Hey, about that crime that happened, I might have some information for you." Or hey, somebody just came and did this thing to me or a friend, and I want to report it to you because I trust you. You treated me right. It's free. How can you not do that? And I stress that time and time again to my staff. Be nice to people. There's a time to not be nice. We have those moments, right? But overall, treat them well. Okay. Are we getting close on time here, Rosie, or what do you want me to do? Keep talking. Keep talking. Okay. Okay. Well, keep talking all day. Do we have any questions so far? Yes.
Be taught.
Pardon me?
Is any of this type of philosophy taught to in the
Future
police?
cops?
Yeah.
I would like to think so. Now, I do a lot of public speaking. When I retire from this, that's what I'd love to do is go out and public speak. I just wrote a little Facebook blog about like my community relations stuff. I wasn't taught that in cop school. I was taught how to drive a squad car, work an accident scene, you know, the basics. And I'm not faulting it, that's what you need to learn to do. But community relations are huge in this line of work, absolutely huge, and I learned that as I went. I fumbled a couple times, you know, you get up and you're like, well, that didn't work, let's try something else. So I'm huge on community relations and working with the people that you're serving. It's your tax dollars I'm spending. I'd like you to look at me and go, he's not wasting all of it. It'd be kind of nice to know he's not sleeping all day. So the things that we can do to build relationships in our community are huge. Coming and talking to schools, I love kids. I absolutely love them because you're going to be my boss one of these days. Believe it or not, you could be on the city council. I know. You could be the boss of me. How cool would that be? You could, right? Years from now, and here's the thing, and I can't stress this enough to kids, you have no idea what you're going to be doing in 15 to 20 years. If you would have told me years ago that I'd be this police chief in Kenyon, I didn't know where Kenyon was until I got hired there. I'd never heard of the town. But you have no idea. So I come up and I treat you poorly, right? And all of a sudden, 10, 15 years from now, she runs for mayor or city council and she's elected. Now what? Oh boy. Remember when I treated you poorly back then? Sorry. It doesn't work. Treat people right. You could be my boss. You could be my boss. You guys could go to cop school, right? Come out and say, I think I want to apply for the city of Kenyon. They've got an opening and their chief is amazingly handsome and he pays us so much money. I'm going to go work for Kenyon, right? But you could do it. And you could have a whole different education. You might want to be a lawyer, you might want to be a doctor, a dentist. It doesn't matter to me as long as you have fun doing what you do. But I might need to come get my teeth worked on and you're a dentist. I might need to get some finger work done and you're a doctor. You never ever know. So there's a saying that goes something like this. How does it go? Be careful of the feet that you step on the way up because you're going to have step on them on the way down or something like that. And it's true. It's treating people accordingly. All right? You don't need to be a jerk on the way up because the ride down, right? Just be nice to people. And being nice is free. Go that extra mile, do that extra good deed, hold the door open for somebody, smile and waving. I do all that stuff all day. I talk with my hands. If I had to sit on my hands, I'd shut up. It's being nice to one another. And don't judge a book by its cover. All right? Any questions? Yes.
In your blog, you write about that you know people who have had past bad deeds, and they've had a problem trusting anybody, especially peace officers. They don't know how much, other people don't know how much work these people have done to get back into a good lifestyle. How do you help?
I'll tell you about a friend of mine. I'm going to change his name. His name is Matt, okay? Back in the day, I arrested Matt. We're talking kick the door in, gun to the head, search warrant, you know, when I was doing narcotic stuff. He was a bad apple. Oh my gosh, he was a bad apple. And I take him to jail and I interview him, and he broke down and cried and told me he's going to change his ways. Now, guess how many people tell me that? Especially when you got him in pink handcuffs. I promise I will never do this again. And sometimes they don't, sometimes they do. Well, Matt ended up really working hard. He got his GED, because I told him, and I'm a big supporter of education. And education comes from more than just the classroom. Life is education. Shut your mouth, open your ears, and listen and learn. You'd be surprised the stuff you can pick up, okay? So he got his GED, thank goodness, because I hounded him about that. He got his home life back in line, made up with his wife and his kids, and he's a great person. Great dad, super nice, and he and I visit all the time. Now, you would see Matt and go, okay, he's Matt that works over here, whatever. One of the things that I get being in this profession is I get a ton of the backstory. I'm not naive about a lot of people and a lot of things. And I look at Matt and I see somebody that did a complete 180 from what they were before. I mean, he used to be a pain in my hiney. Oh my gosh, he was a pain. But he turned it around. And did I have a big bearing on that? I don't know. But I treated him right. And he's thanked me for it. And that's all that I ask. I get way more satisfaction out of a thank you or a hug or, hey, good job than I do from any amount of money that you could pay me, because that's what matters, because that comes from people interacting with people. And that's what this is. It's not us versus them, it's us and you, us and them. And when you figure that out, it makes a world of difference in the job that you do. And a lot of my friends that have left us to go to larger agencies have said this: I miss having fun. Not that their agencies are bad, they're not. But they miss having fun, because you get to larger and sometimes you get more rules, more regulations, and you're so busy, you don't get the time to do this kind of stuff. And I love this kind of stuff. So when you can do this, you're doing it right. But if you know someone that's having a hard time, visit with them about it and let them know you can turn this around. You can. The person you are today doesn't mean you have to be the same person tomorrow, right? You can do things differently. You can change. I might give up eating donuts. I doubt it. I could change. I doubt it. I love donuts. It's one of the things about being a cop is you have to like donuts. Okay, yes?
If we would have some scary neighbors, some neighbors that we are really concerned about, but we're too scared, can we just go talk to police and see what, you could give us some guidelines on how to work with them to help them be your friend?
One of the things we do a lot is we do what's called a knock and talk, okay? And you can do that too. Here's how I see a lot of bad neighbor relationships happen. So-and-so's dog is pooping on my lawn. As opposed to me just going over there and going, hey, could you please do me a favor, and when Fido drops those big loaves of bread on my grass, could you please pick them up? Because I don't want to hit them with the lawnmower, I don't want to step on them. Would you please do that for me? That's not so bad, is it? Oh no, but people don't want to do that. You know why? Because we've gotten so dependent on these. If I could text him and tell him that, I'd do it. But I can't just walk over there and say, hey, do me a favor, pick up your dog poop, right? I don't want to step in your landmines. So they call the cops. It happens. You know, in a large city, can you imagine calling like Minneapolis or St. Paul and saying, hey, can you come over and tell them the neighbor to tell their dog to quit pooping on my lawn? They'd be like, yeah, we're going to get all over that. Yeah, that's going to be about 48 on our list of a million things to do today. So, which, you know, it's the way it is. I get it. But we in small towns have time for that. So we show up, knock on your door. Hi, how are you? You good? Good. Okay. Could you do me a favor? Your neighbor here is upset because your dog Fido's pooping on her lawn. Could you please clean that up and maybe not have that happen again? Probably. Oh, he's such a good kid. Look at him. So I turn away and I leave. He shuts the door and he's like, yeah, what a jerk neighbor. I can't believe she didn't come over and just ask me herself to do that. And now it starts that tiff. Now as opposed to this wave, they get the one finger wave now, you know, and it causes hurt feelings. So, and I tell people, you know, just, and I always ask, have you walked over there and asked them yourself? No, they got a long beard, they're scary. Facial hair's not scary. Go over and ask him. Well, I don't know, he's old, maybe he's mean. Maybe I know some back history, maybe he's a great person. Go knock on his door and ask him. Oh, I can do that? Yeah. Wave at him across the fence, offer to blow his snow. I mean, do things like that. It makes a huge difference. Good neighbors are hard to find. Be the best neighbor you can be. Plus, then I don't have to show up and go over and go, can you please clean up your dog poop? I have better things to do, like eating donuts, right? Writing on Facebook. Any other questions? Yes?
I've had the privilege of teaching police officers and future chiefs and sheriffs, actually over 10 years now, and we talk about the 3 E's in every course I teach. Empathy, ethics, and energy. The 3 E's. And if you don't have to rush to your dictionary, empathy is exactly what Lee's talking about. Understanding other people and caring for other people. Ethics means you do the right thing. And energy has got to be there, or you couldn't be as energetic as this guy. If you don't have those 3 E's, you probably won't be a police officer or a chief or a sheriff.
It's true. Okay, I'll end with this. Everything happens for a reason. I'm a big believer in fate, okay? Everything happens for a reason, karma, actions, reactions, and so forth. When people ask me how I became a cop, true story. I became a cop because I was nice to somebody. That's the true story. So, I play in a band. I've been around musicians my whole life. I love musicians. So I've got a friend in a band. His name is Todd, and Todd dates a girl. And I see the girl at shows, and we visit at practices, and we just hang out once in a while, maybe have a beer, go to lunch, whatever, all of us as a group, and we are hanging out and visiting. So one day, we are hanging out, and she says, hey, you went to school to be a cop, didn't you? Well, yes, I did. Have you found a job yet? No, I said, I just finished school. She goes, you should contact my dad. Okay. I knew he was a police officer, but I'd not known him that well. Yeah, he's the chief in Kenyon. I'm like, where the heck's Kenyon? She goes, I don't know that way. All right, so I look it up, and I call him, and I say, hey, your daughter said that you maybe are looking for, police officers. Oh yeah, she says nice things about you. Send me your resume. Okay, so I did. And he called me up and said, you want to work here part-time? I'm going to pay you $10 an hour, and you got to buy all your own stuff. That was my first cop job. $10 an hour, and I had to buy everything from my gun to my belt to my boots, everything out of my own pocket. I said, yes, I will do that. And I did, and I drove back and forth. I got that first cop job because I was nice to somebody. How weird is that? It wasn't even like a really good friend of mine. It was a guitar player I knew and his girlfriend. That's how I got my first cop job. What if I was a jerk to her? What if I walked around like, oh, I'm going to be a cop, just so you know, kind of a big deal. I don't know, too cool to talk to you guys, I'll tell you that much, because I'm going to be a cop. You don't get a job that way. You get a job by being nice to people. That's how I got my first cop job. And then I stayed there. Then I went to a larger agency, and then I came back. But you have to pay your dues. And when I see younger officers now starting, and you tell them that you made $10 an hour, they're like, oh, I could never work for that. I'm like, you want to be a cop, you will. This is not an easy career field to get into. Do you know how many thousands of people are looking for cop jobs? Tons and tons and tons of them are. It's not an easy profession to get into. Now, my income is public information, right? It's your tax dollars. The hourly rate I make is public information. What we pay part-time staff and full-time staff is public information. A full-time cop in Kenyon, we just hired one, is making $16.48 an hour. Might sound like a lot of money to some, but for what we do, that's not a lot of money, really. You want to go pull bodies out of cars and go to gross medicals for $16 an hour? Yeah, sometimes it is. But sometimes you get to see wonderful people do wonderful things, and you do it for free. It's what you want to do. You have to be passionate about it. Nowadays, thank goodness, things have changed. Now when I hire you, I give you like a shirt and a gun belt and all that other fancy stuff. So, because it's important. And I treat my staff well. I tell them I can't pay you a lot, but I'm going to hopefully teach you a thing or two, and we're going to have a good time. Don't make me put on my chief hat and be mean to you, because it happens. Yeah, and the donuts. Lots of donuts. Yes, sir.
There's some police have special volunteers or something.
Reserves?
Reserve, yeah. They don't get paid, do they?
No.
And they kind of start out that way sometimes.
Yep. I started out as a police reserve in Austin, Minnesota. I weighed about 140 pounds, and I had my first experience from 93 to 95. I was a police reserve in Austin, and I loved it. I learned a lot because I shut my mouth, which I know you find hard to believe that I could do that, but when I have to, I can. I sit on my hands and I shut my mouth. So I shut my mouth, opened my ears, and I learned a lot of good things from a lot of good cops. I also learned a lot of bad things from a lot of bad cops in my career. There's things that you guys will see with people that you'll look at. What's your name? Cody? What's your name again? Serena and Cody are friends. They're hanging out here, right? Just talking, hanging out. Cody does some really good stuff that she's like, I kind of like that idea. I'm going to do that. She does some stuff that you're like, yeah, I don't like that idea. I'm not going to do that. That's how you learn, is by watching others. And you'll find good and bad in everybody. Don't judge them just based on the bad. Finding good sometimes is tough, trust me. Oh my gosh. There are some people I really got to look deep to find it. But it's there. And when you find it and you acknowledge it, maybe you've just turned somebody's life around. One simple little thing can have all the difference in the world. Is that it? Is that good?
Any more questions? I hate to have you stop. But I do have one.
And that's why Tommy Wallner's the coolest cop ever. There we go. Woo! Wow. It was all about you the whole time. It was amazing. Oh, and Nick's good too. There we go. I'm going to stay inside.
Okay. This is from his blog. Okay, July 12th. Okay. Lee writes on Facebook, someone peed on the carpet when I came home for break. When I asked who did it, both suspects went into hiding. The cats strolled around like the queens they are. I hope you're all having a great weekend. Stay safe, Lee.
There you go. Thank you all for having me. Hope you got something out of it.